Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Brony Debates Live. I hope you're all doing well out there. Let's get a good start to this weekend. It's been a nice little week for me. I don't know about the rest of these guys, but we'll find out momentarily. This week, we've got a very interesting topic that I'm looking forward to here. So hopefully, I can learn some stuff tonight because once again, we're talking about music, something that I know very little about. So, to help me with this, I brought on two of my favorite musicians from the Brony fandom and a good friend who knows a lot about music. So joining us once again, friend of the show, 4Everfreebrony, otherwise known as Goonie. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing swell.
Alrighty then. You were just at Everfree Northwest. Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time. It was a blast.
Good. I remember I saw you there, and you darn near brought the house down at those concerts. So it was great seeing you on stage again.
It was great being on stage again. It was like a miracle.
Nice.
I never thought it'd happen again, or it felt like that at least.
All right. Yeah, we gotta have more patience. These things come and go. But so tonight's topic suggested by Mr. Cordero. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys? All of this is cringe AF, and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yes. And speaking of cringe, there's a pony dabbing next to you, and and normally that would be enough for me to reenact the ending of the first Avengers movie with the Hulk and Loki, but I've got to preserve this guy so he can be on the Tonight Show and then continue making some killer music. Mr. Prince Whatever. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Like I said before the stream there, I know I know you're staying up, pretty late, or at least late according to my standards, and then you told me you got another couple hours left on you, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Careful, man. You don't want to mess up your sleep schedule too much. That's how you end up like me.
It's fine. There's work to be done. Not enough hours in the day.
Oh, I know that feeling. So, Brony music, cringe or creative? We're a little over a year, not a year, a decade on a lot of Brony music, especially some of the stuff that became meme worthy. When it first came out, stuff like Yerby Brony, Living Tombstone, Wooden Toaster, Rainbow Factory, things like that. We're coming up
Alex
on
S, Pinkie Pie Swear.
Yep, Alex.
Mike, the OGs.
Yes, so we're coming up on a decade of a lot of these, and some of them have really good reputations. Some of them not so much. Some of them have gone on to do other things. And so let's talk about how cringy or creative Brony music will become. Let's dive right into it. But before we do that, I gotta shout out my patron supporters because I almost forget to do that every single week now for going on 2 years. So big shout out to all of my very generous supporters on Patreon. Especially those on the $10 and up tier, including Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministry, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Sodden, Girder, Senko, Kyle Christensen, DJ Skywalker, Stephen A. Wilson, Rein-Kun, Princess Sunshine Sparkle, Pony Cordero, you are on that list, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden McManx, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. A lot of those guys have their own links to their own really good content in the description. I highly recommend you check them all out. So, Cordero, this was your suggestion tonight. Tell us why you wanted to talk about this topic.
Well, Brony music and fandom music in general fills a really specific niche, and it was also a significant part of my life, which I could get into at some point. But basically, like, I used to think that things were either cringe or creative, like it was either one or the other. And like if something was really good, then it wasn't cringe. But now I don't think that anymore. My definition of cringe has kind of changed. My definition of cringe is actually really loose. And I also don't even think it's a bad thing when something is cringe. I basically now define cringe as I wouldn't show this to other people. unless they had some kind of basis of understanding what's going on. So that's a pretty loose definition of cringe. I have a My Little Pony fan music playlist with like 222 songs on it, and if I'm talking to like a normie, or for lack of a better word, I'm not showing them a single goddamn song on that playlist. So for that reason, I put all of it in the cringe category.
Alrighty then. So let's turn it to our guests now. Goonie, what is cringe, and does Brony music fall under cringe?
I say Cordero kind of summed it up fairly well. Like if you're gonna show somebody who like without context or anything, or if they don't understand like your same taste in music, then if you're gonna show them that kind of content, whether it's music or just a fan creation of some sort, then yeah, it can be fairly cringy. But like honestly, it's the things that like sometimes I don't know, to me cringy can sometimes feel a little bit different too. Like even some of the show songs, like for example what is it, the Share and Care song, like it was meant to be annoying, right? It was written to be a really annoying song. So like I don't know, and honestly I didn't care for the song either way. And then there's like a fan creation. If we're talking about like a fan creation itself, the one song that like always comes to my mind, like I know a lot of people would hate me for this, but like when I think of like cringe-worthy fan music, the first thing that always comes to my mind, and I know that so many people love this, is Pony Girl. Like,
yes, give in to your hate.
you know what I'm saying though, right? It's a song that a lot of people would enjoy and that a lot of people would find really annoying.
I'm definitely in the latter. I got into that song and I got as far as "I'm a pony girl," and then I put my head through a brick wall and I turned it off. So that's
Your brain? You turned your head off?
No, I turned off the song. The brain would have to be turned on at some point in order for me to turn it off.
That's fair.
Okay, so
But
yeah, go.
you kind of get it. You kind of get where I'm going here. It's like that kind of content is what I would find like super cringy. In terms of like fan music, I thought the animation was nice and smooth and it was cute and all, but like the song itself, like no.
We'll get into this later, but I actually think on average, the Brony fandom is a lot better at animating than it is at singing or voice acting. But we'll actually get back into that later on. Right now, I want to hear from Prince. Oh, by the way, I'm a jerk and I forgot to ask this beforehand. Prince, is that a good way to address you, or is there something else you wanted me to call you by?
That Prince is A-okay with me.
All right,
His Excellency.
Yeah, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, how many times have you heard that? I'm sure
This is the first time, 100%, totally. Never heard it before.
Anyway, Brony music, or what is, firstly, define cringe for us, and then tell us how often Brony music falls under there for you.
Yeah, when Goonie and Cordova, is it? I think I'm being correct there. Anyway, when you guys
I like Cordova. Can that be my name now?
what is it? I screwed it up. I know I screwed it up.
Cordero.
Cordero. Okay.
Cordero. It means lamb in Spanish, but I like Cordovo.
It sounds very piratey, huh? Anyway, yeah. On the definition of cringe thing, it's like when you call food like gross or something. It really depends on the person, and I don't know. It's hard and I can't even say if I think all Brony music is cringe or not because it depends on the song. It depends on the artist. Geez, like a lot of my old songs are absolutely awful, so cringe, and to the point like where Cordero said what was it about not listening, being able to listen to it by yourself, but not being able to listen with other people. A lot of what I define cringe as something that makes me cringe out, and I just can't listen to it even alone. So it's a bit more of a heavy definition, I guess.
Yeah, that's
But
more of a
yeah.
strict definition.
Yeah, like it has to cringe me out specifically. Although, then again, it also like has to cringe other people out as well. Like if I was such a loser back in the day. I used to show my friends clips from the show from MLP because I just thought they were really cool. But of course, my friends were like, "What the hell are you doing? This is so cringe, loser." And I was like, "No, I think it's cool." And I didn't even consider that that could be cringy to other people. I don't know why, but yeah, I don't know. It depends. It really, really depends. Like even down to just parts in single songs. Some parts can be good and some other parts can be cringe. It's in flux, dude. That's my deep pseudo analysis answer.
All right, so I'm gonna insert myself into the issue a little bit now. I have a definition of cringe loosely along what you guys have been saying, but also I do think there's a quality, an objective quality factor to it, the second someone brings up objectivity and in quality, especially for something as subjective as music, that's very difficult to pin down. But I think the most common factor here is objectively bad with no self-awareness. So you're taking yourself very seriously, but you can't sing, you can't write. Your mixing is all the way off. You might be good at whatever instruments you're playing. You might have learned the basics of music theory, however you learn them. But it never really evolves beyond that. And usually the problem
Just say my name, Brony. Jeez.
I had no idea, okay? I'm thinking about so many other people, okay? The world does not revolve around you, Cordero. It never evolves beyond that. There's usually, if it goes on for longer than a few months, there's usually an effort factor to it. So it's the lacking of self-awareness that there is room for improvement, and then choosing not to do anything about it as well. So for me personally,
So the talent show Discord kid.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Discord.
Yeah.
I only watched that the other day.
Oh
That
god.
poor kid. I hope he's doing all right.
He's probably not. He's probably bitter.
No.
He's probably bitter and alcoholic by now. Anyway,
No. I like my fanfic is he grew up and laughed it off.
all right.
Because then I could laugh at it without feeling bad. Because if he like offed himself, and then I can't laugh at it anymore.
Well, that's the worst case scenario. But what I'm saying here is, for me, anything that's like it, I've always liked songs that are implicitly pony, not explicitly. So the second, like, if more often than not, if somebody puts in a vocal chop from the show or starts singing about how much they love Fluttershy and they're just naming Fluttershy in every other line, that's too much. That's the kind of thing, like you guys have been saying, I can't show that to other people. So pretty much all of the music I listen to for Brony is stuff that I could turn on with other people. So I listen to a lot of the instrumental rock. I listen to a lot of the orchestral, like Evening Star when he was around, and or Artem Yegorov when he made Brony music. Unless you were a Brony, you wouldn't know that was a pony song. But there's also a factor of, and I alluded to this earlier, the quality of the tracks being produced on average by Bronies. And there's two very common problems that I noticed throughout the years is that Bronies are not usually as good at mixing, and they're usually, present company notwithstanding, I should put that asterisk on there. They're usually not good at mixing, and they're usually not good at vocals. Like for example, Kane. There was an artist named Kane. I don't know if his YouTube channel is still around, but he made a really good song called "The Great Ponyville Swindle," and it was about the Flim Flam Brothers and the Flim Flam Brothers and the episode, I forgot the name of it, where Granny Smith takes the tonic and thinks she's indestructible.
Oh,
I can't remember the name, but I know the
I
episode.
haven't
Yeah.
heard this.
Yeah, so it was a really good song, but you could barely understand his vocals because he just didn't mix it. And yeah, and there's just been so many times, innumerable times I've been listening to a new song and thinking, wow, the instrumentals are killing here. This guy is really good at guitar. And then he starts singing and it's like a lance. So
Cringe.
yeah. So I'm
I-
gonna take that little rant and open it up to you guys. How how skewed is my perception of the fandom here? How often do we have problems with the quality of the music that we produce as bronies, or am I just are my standards too high? Goonie, what do you think?
The most important thing to always keep in mind when you're listening to fandom music, especially in the Brony fandom, is to listen for potential. Like, if the one thing if the one thing that's holding them back is just mixing, then that could possibly mean that their songs would actually be that they might actually sound really good on a live stage instead of instead of in your headphones. Like I've seen that a couple times, like where people sounded way better live than they do in the studio, and that's not just because of their energy or anything. It's just because simply their studio mix is really bad, right? And so like that person may be the highlight of the night just because they're really they can sound really good on stage, but not in a studio, or at least in their own studio.
We had an example, if I may interject. We had an example of that recently because I love Mathematic Pony's music, and
Yes.
I think, and that's one example. Like, and I just said I love her music. I
Right.
don't think she has the best mix, at least not compared to some other mixes I've heard. But she
True.
killed it on stage a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. She's not like the most well versed in when it comes to like mixing, but she is definitely a really good instrumentalist and vocalist. She's really good at
And her,
like
her
everything.
writing isn't bad either.
Oh yeah, she's really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but yeah, I also wanted to. What was the other thing that you mentioned? I wanted to kind of like. I wanted to kind of expand on it a little bit.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So like when the other thing that you mentioned earlier was when you said like, um, you prefer to listen to music that's like not explicitly pony, right? That's implicitly pony. Like like you wouldn't tell if it's a Brony song if you didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And I actually, a few years ago, I think in like 2017, I ran a little experiment on that, like whether or not, because most of my music is actually not very explicitly pony, except for maybe most of my parodies. And but the one song I tried to write an original song that was like that had pretty direct references with a name here or there, and it said like pony and it said like hoof or mare or whatever. You know, I tried to write. I was like, so since most of my music is implicit, what if I wrote something that was more direct, right? What if I wrote something and it didn't really make much of a difference because that song never became like super popular, but it gave me the result that I didn't really need to include direct references to make a song super popular in the fandom. You know?
Yeah. So let me pull a couple examples from you here, Goonie. I've played. Goodness, why is it every time I need a name it leaves me? I've played Not Much to Miss around my family.
Sure.
And they thought it was really good. I've played, not your version, but I did play the original Kindness around my family. They didn't. I played a lot of Artem Yegorov and a lot of Evening Star around my family, and a lot of the, and they never noticed. I even played Evening Star's version of the Friendship is Magic theme around my older sister, who knows the theme, and she didn't notice. But I could not play what was it? Who knows around around my folks, because that one's very explicit. They would be asking questions I'm not ready to answer. So
that one was explicit.
Yeah. Is that the song you were talking about a second ago?
No, actually, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, like, that one would have made the experiment like go wild. But no, the one I experimented with was Share With Me. It's a song about rarity. So.
Yep. Let's see here. So, Cordero, what do you think about all that? I'd like to hear you weigh in on what Goonie and I have said.
Yeah, I was going through my playlist looking for examples of singers, because like I feel like you find all the people who are like shaky at singing, and so I'm just going through my playlist and looking for the most competent singers, and obviously present company, but but on top of that, Aviators is really good. The girl that sings Celestia's voice in Lullaby for a Princess and every other fan thing, I forget her name. She's amazing. Ali Monty when she's not stretching her range is really good. D Notive might be my favorite singer in the fandom. I don't even know if he still makes stuff. Dasha on Good Girl by Living Tombstone. I said Aviators. Jack Apple's a little bit shaky. Awkward Marina. Like, there's a lot of really good singers.
I'll throw one in there. I always feel super guilty for not enjoying Crusader. I feel like I should enjoy Crusader more than I do, but like, he's one of those examples where I don't think the guy's got a singing voice.
It just really depends on the genre. Like, he actually sounds really good when he does like a decent punk song. Like, if it's mixed well and everything. You can't find it anywhere on YouTube, but if you go to my Copycat album, we did a cover of what was it called? And I don't mean punk song, I mean like some sort of fast-paced rock song. But it's the cover of the Sonic Adventure 2 song, the Escape from the City. There we go.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And he actually sounded really good on that one. So it kind of matched his tone, and you might, I don't know. He's good live though.
Okay, yeah, I've heard him live too, and I still hold to what I said, but that's that's a totally subjective thing there. So let's So Prince, what do you think about all this? I haven't heard from you in a minute.
Oh geez. Well, on topic of Crusaders, it's like,
yeah, who sucks? Come on, spit it out.
No, I love Crusader. I think your problem with him is mostly, it's what you enjoy, because like I get what you're saying. When I first heard him sing, I was like, oh, that's a different voice, but on a technical level, he's great. He can hit notes way higher than I thought he could, and he's very accurate. But his timbre is definitely a more acquired taste. Like the sound of his voice, how it sounds is very uncommon, I'd say.
Okay, so that's probably what it is then.
His transition between notes is a little shaky, but when he hits them, he's actually very accurate.
What was the base question at the bottom of this again? Because I think we've gone off a bit and I'm lost.
Right. So
like who's a good singer, who's not, kind of, I guess.
Who's good and who's not? Damn, we talked shit already, huh?
Do Brony singers tend to be shaky? It was kind of the underlying question.
Okay. I mean, yes, but only because, like, okay, so in like mainstream music, you only hear musicians that have been vetted through so much, like either through having to rise through tons of other musicians to get to the top, and then going through world-class studios with world-class teachers. So like that's kind of what we're up against. So it's kind of hard, and like Goonie said, it's all about the potential, because stuff like mixing and like fine-tuning your technique can be taught, but the talent and the creativity at the bottom of that, you can't teach that. You need to start with at least some of that and grow from there. But stuff like mixing, mixing is totally, you could learn that. Like no matter how bad you are at it, you could just learn how to mix. That's not
so
hard.
let me pose this question
it's a very
to the
trainable skill.
let me pose this question to the floor here. Are these issues that we're talking about with mixing and range and skill and talent, things like that, does the Brony fandom experience these issues more or less or about the same as other fandoms? Because I'll say why. Because if you think about like the Nintendo fandoms where you've got your Legend of Zelda or your Super Mario and all the millions of fan songs that have been made by them, you don't typically find ones that have issues with the mix or issues with the vocals or the issues with the songs just being poorly written or too explicit to the point that they're cringy and a normie can't relate. So is that a matter of perception, or do other fandoms experience cringe as much as the Brony fandom does?
I think the pony fandom music is very high variance, and what you're talking about, because we can find people's ponies music that's not mixed very well, or could be mixed better, or the voices are bad, or the voices are shaky, or they're close to being good. But the upper echelon of because 222 songs on my playlist, I look for pony music that's good. The upper echelon of pony music is stellar, is as good as anything you'll find that's fan made or professionally made in any fandom. But pony music has very high variance because part of it is that the barrier to entry is very low, as we talked about. Like anyone can just put up a YouTube video. And also, with that Mario stuff or like other fandoms, is if it's not a fandom that you're deep into, you tend to only see the really good stuff that rises to the top. Whereas the fandom that you're in, you're going to see a lot more of the variance. You're going to see more of the people that are just kind of good or okay or less than okay. That's going to pop up more when it's your fandom. So you're going to perceive higher variance when it's your fandom. And I think that ponies in general has higher fandom, and I think that might have something to do with the demographics. And that's a nice way of putting it, and I'm not going to clarify.
All right, and gentlemen, what do you two think about what Cordero just said?
I would like to, I'd like to springboard off that a little bit. About like how only the best stuff will rise to the top. But part of that is things like the example you gave, the Nintendo fandom, Nintendo, and like even going down to like Zelda. It is so, even that is so mainstream. Like I would if I would not bat an eye if someone bought a Zelda game in front of me, or I wouldn't care if I bought a Zelda game in front of anyone. But to buy like one of the DVDs of one of the seasons of MLP, that's like I might want to look around and see who's near me before I do that, you know? So
Cringe.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's that's what I'm saying. Like Zelda isn't widely perceived as just cringe by default. Like, well, they had that little meme with the whole everyone thinking Link is Zelda. That was a big meme, but that's about the size of it. There's nothing. That's all the cringe they got. And plus, like their fandom's enormous. It's like it's a household name. Trying to think what would be more comparable. There's the obvious comparison of furries, but like even they're so
what about
wide.
what about Sonic then? Let's cross the bridge over to Sega.
Okay. Yeah, Sonic would be a up closer one, I reckon. Even then, they're still way bigger. Pony, like it's not that the fandom's bigger. It's just the novelty and the niche character of being a brony is still quite a new thing. Even though it's lost a lot of its novelty, it's still really weird to a lot of people. Whereas if you tell someone, oh yeah, I like the Sonic games, like no one's gonna care. It's like cool, all right. I don't know. It's hard because there's no real equivalent to compare to. I don't know. I got nothing substantial to say.
What do you think, Goonie?
Here's a little bit of a comparison here. Like when we're talking about the musician faction of each of those groups, for example, like the Brony, or just the creator faction, the creative fandom faction, the Brony fandom actually has a lot more creators out there who are just feel inspired and want to create. Like they don't care what their audience is or whatever. And so we're more likely to have people that sound lower than amateur, you know? And so it's because I'm not saying that our fandom is bigger than any other fandom, but I am saying I would even dare to say that it is the most inspired and creative when it comes to just like somebody wanting to find their place in the world, because of the whole cutie mark thing kind of inspires you to go find your special talent and to share it with everybody. And I think that's something that the fandom has that's a lot more special. I've been told that the furry fandom does have a musician faction, but nobody ever gets noticed unless you make it really big, unless you play on a live stage, and even then, you have to be like really really renowned as a furry musician. And so the smaller names don't really get noticed, and or rather or maybe there's not even smaller names because they don't think they'll get noticed, um in the Brony fandom though, there's more of that. There's more of that little guy thing where you don't where you have a lot of people who are just trying to become better rather than starting out as professionals, so I think that by comparison we are more likely to have people who are amateur or lower because of the quantity of creators and inspired people that we have.
I've never even heard of the furry music scene, but you did remind me that there is a Minecraft fan music scene. So how does Brony music compare to Minecraft music on average?
Minecraft has top 10s that are really popular every month. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. Our top 10 used to be a lot more popular. Used to be really hopping, and it still exists even, but it's not. And in fact, Prince even won July of this year.
Is Don't Mine at Night a Minecraft song or a Brony song? This is extremely important.
Yes.
Shut up, Cordero. I didn't ask you.
Correct.
Well, there's the thing, actually. The original Don't Mine at Night song was actually done by a different guy who I think was called Bebop Vox. And the one that was made for the animation is actually it was actually kind of like a parody of it, a parody of a parody, if you will.
Oh God, we're going too deep.
A cover. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a cover, but it changed the lyrics in many spots actually.
Bona fide cover. That's actually a whole subgenre of pony music is a bona fide cover.
Well, yeah, Goonie
Yes,
just came out with an
exactly.
album of it, of that exact type of thing, like earlier this year.
Yeah, literally. They're just literally parodies. That's what they are.
Yep.
But yeah,
Dinota's Vicious Lies cover, stuff like that.
yeah, something like that. No, I released an album of like parodies like about a year ago, and it was just called Pony with an I at the end. But going back to Don't Mind at Night, that one, it was originally done by a different guy, and it was just a Minecraft song. But they wanted to make a version where Button Mash was singing it because Button Mash is a gamer, and everybody was anyways. So
Yeah.
you get it. You get it.
All right. So here's my next question for everybody here. On average, how much do bronies try to improve themselves over other fandoms? So you guys mentioned that there's less of a barrier to entry, but I personally have noticed a lot of people, present company included, who got a lot better as they continued to create as time went on, as you should do. Is that something that's unique to Brony, or do we see more musicians fall off if they are because they're not improving or because they're not getting the recognition that they wanted?
Almost every single
Yeah,
one
that's
of
just
them
how
that
art
I've
works.
seen, almost every single one of them that I've seen that keeps going has improved. Like the only ones I can think of, like a couple names that like started out and sounded pretty good, but not really, but really needed some work. And they just kind of left. But the Brony fandom, just because of the fact that it has so many people who like feel like they can build upon themselves, they by comparison, I'd say that we have a lot more growth, and because we're also tend to be a little bit more encouraging when it comes to the community part of it. In the musician part, we help each other out. We give each other tips, and we learn what compression is and how to use it. That's like every Brony musician's like greatest fear when you're starting out. It's just like, I think I can just get the volumes right without compression, but no, you're not going to.
No.
Anyways, but
even as a voice actor, I use compression, so let's keep that in mind if you're out there listening and looking to get into either music or voice acting. Yeah, it's definitely learn your tools. That's often the difference of someone who's good and someone who's cringe is how well they know how to use their tools or and improve on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have some examples.
Yeah,
For the question you asked.
Go for it.
For mixing, Sim Gratina, I think he got better over time, or they actually don't know. Their mixes got way better over time, as time went on. For singers, Animated James, he was an animator, but he was putting out songs while animating and doing stuff, and I noticed his voice got better the more singing he did. Black Griffin was always a great singer, but Black Griffin developed basically into a professional studio quality voice over his time doing Brony music. So yeah, I would say, like we've stated, like most musicians have gotten better over time as they did Brony stuff. From wherever they started, they got better. But I just wanted to give some examples of people that I heard. Mando Pony is another one. Mando Pony, his singing and mixing and playing got tighter over time.
True.
I would actually disagree there. From when I was listening to Mando
Pony got worse.
I wouldn't say he got worse. I say he made some minor improvements early on and then stagnated, and then he got a little bit more. He got a little bit more mainstream, which is going to be our next topic here. And then he freaking screwed up and started sexing with minors and fell off.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know
really?
that? Yeah, that was
Shit.
that was late last year. All that went down.
Oh,
Look, I just listened to cringy songs on YouTube. I don't know any of the drama. Holy shit.
Oh, the cringe
No,
goes
he
far
was-
deeper than that.
Yeah, no.
That,
Basically, the story is that nobody needs to know is just that like that people found proof that he was a pedophile, basically. So
Damn.
that's
Yep.
yep.
I mean, it was bound to happen.
So, but that actually gets me into a good segue here. Is what do we think about Brony musicians who got their start in Brony and for one reason or another want nothing to do with it now? So they got relatively big. So we're talking Alex S, we're talking Living Tombstone, we're talking Mando, we're talking people that got a little bit of fame outside of Brony, or and then just deleted everything Pony that they did. Jeff Burgess is another example of this kind of thing. What do we think about that?
And are you
Okay.
talking mainstream, like gets played on the radio, or more just like is popular? Is
Just like moved out of the fandom, right?
Yeah. People. Okay, so if you say Living Tombstone these days, people are gonna know Spooky Scary Skeletons. They're gonna know Tom's Dog.
Yeah.
They're not gonna know
Dying Fire.
Yeah, they're not gonna know Discord. They're not gonna know his Discord remix.
Yeah.
They're not gonna know oh god, the names.
They
leave
might know
me-
Discord.
Yeah, the names leave me every time. But yeah, he did a really good rock song with a female vocalist, and I remember telling him, "Hey, more of that, please." But yeah, so what do we think?
right.
What do we think about people that that get their fame from Brony and then dump it like a hot potato.
I like that you brought up Alex S and Tombstone because those are the two exact opposites.
And I'm seeing aviators in the chat as well.
Okay, well, he's on Tombstone's end of the spectrum as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, my take is that like, oh god, like I don't mind when people leave the fandom. Okay, it's fine. It's your life. You do what you want. Like whatever inspires you, you go, you chase that. But if you leave, like it's how you leave that really defines it for me. And the way Tomb left, sure. He wanted to do something else. That's fine. He didn't delete any of his old stuff, as far as I'm aware. He doesn't like shun it. People still poke him about it on Twitter, and he takes it in good humor. It's all good. Alex S lied to everyone, as far as I am aware. I could be wrong, but the story, as I understand it, was he left the fandom, said he didn't want to do anything anymore, any pony anymore, which is fine. But then he deleted all his pony songs, and the reason for that, he said, was that it didn't reflect the current level of quality of his work. And that's, you know what, fair enough. But he did leave up a bunch of things which were even older than his pony mixes that were getting millions of views, like his old Nyan Cat remix. So the reason that being that the quality wasn't there is complete bullshit as far as I'm concerned. So that was a real dick move. But yeah, it's not about that he left, it's about the way he did it. And like I said, like Tomb and Aviators, they moved on to different things. They're doing great, and I'm nothing but happy for those guys.
All right.
They're not being douchebags about it.
And to add on to that, real quick, to add on to that, Jeff Burgess, he had said he had wanted to do music outside of the fandom, and apparently took a little bit of like that wasn't received very well, got criticized for it, and then just kind of threw a hissy fit about it and deleted everything.
Oof.
Yeah. And just insulted the fandom all the way on his way out, and it wasn't a
There's been a couple of those.
Yeah.
I had heard, maybe this was one of the lies or whatever, but I had heard that Alex S got some kind of contract and had to get rid of like unlicensed fan stuff from his page for a while.
What?
I'd heard a rumor like that. It's like, oh, sorry guys, current job in real music industry, got to get rid of this stuff.
I've
like that was going around.
Industry people.
Whatever happened, he re-uploaded 6 years ago.
Wait, what? What did he re-upload?
I've got I just found it recently, in videos of his that are 6 years old. Party with Pinky, Ultimate Sweetie Belle, Trixie the Pony Troll. His whole shit is back up.
Are you on Alex S channel?
I'm on Alex S. Those were re-uploaded 6 years ago because I just found them the other day and put them back on my playlist.
Oh, real quick,
his channel isn't called that anymore. His channel is called Andromulus now.
You know who
a channel called Alex S with those songs up, so maybe somebody just took them and
you know who embodies what we're talking about right here is So Great and Powerful.
In which way?
That was interesting.
What?
Yes,
S came back for a while.
Kind of, yeah.
So great and powerful comes and goes, and basically like makes music and is super famous, but doesn't want to be famous. And the second his viewership gets above a certain level, he pulls everything and dips.
That is how to introvert. Yes.
Yeah.
For a while they actually went under the name of Captive Unicorns, just for like a few months, and I thought that like that was really cool. Because it was just like it was kind of like a shoot back to whatever. It was like a tribute to I don't know. It referenced the fandom obviously with the name, and also created 2 new songs with pony pictures. They looked more like older generations, but they still you could tell it was SGAP totally. But and so people were like freaking out about it, and then it disappeared again.
Yep. So let's see here. Does anybody else have anything they want to add or take away from that before I move on?
I just want to say that it was really. I just want to say something about like, I do admire the fact that like people sometimes would like to. I respect the fact that people would like to I don't know, go on to bigger things. And I think it's sometimes understandable if you're like forced to take down certain content, but like as Prince said, basically if you're like ashamed of your past as a brony musician or something like that, or you don't or it just doesn't you don't think it'll look good on your resume or something like that, then that's that's not super admirable in my opinion. Aviators and Mando Pony kind of and Aviators had he still respects the fandom, and he still even after he was basically done with fandom music, he did a cover of one of my songs, and it was definitely a very very pony song, and people could tell. But he has definitely moved on to doing more things like video game and movie and show inspired music. Um, uh, and then there's the story of like remake, or formerly known as acoustic brony, and they've moved on to other things, and I think they're still currently working on the Elements album, but I think that's gonna be like their last hurrah, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
because they got about halfway through that if they were going to do 6 songs.
yeah, they made it through 4 songs, and
Oh,
they
4, yeah,
performed.
because we do have
Yeah,
Magic.
Yeah.
yeah. No, they did Generos. No, Laughter was the last one that they did,
Mm-hmm.
and they performed Honesty at a convention one time, and that's the most we've heard of of Honesty. And um, I do know for a fact, though, that they are actually planning on re-recording and releasing all 6 in an album as soon as they can. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's
I know
pretty
so
cool.
because I played a very small part in the production of it. So
So it sounds like to a degree, like to us, to bronies, brony music is pretty creative, but I'm noticing a common theme here of graduating from the fandom. You get to a certain point in your viewership, in your subscribers, and whatever, and then you just stop doing pony music. And I'm wondering why that is. Why do we not get to that level, get to that Alex S, that Tombstone, that Mando level, and then keep going with the fandom music? There always seems to be some kind of graduation going on. Why do we think that is?
I can
Um,
give 2 reasons.
Let's
I,
hear
I
it.
know. I'll tell you why, actually.
who's
I can
going?
tell you why.
Go on.
There's only so much that you can when it is actually your career. Like, Prince, is this basically your career?
Yes.
Like making, yeah, it's the same for me, and it's just focused on brony music. Basically, for both of us, there comes a point where you can't, because it's kind of obvious that the brony music has kind of died down, or rather the interest in it. The musicians are still there, and we're still creating lots of new music and everything, but the listeners are not so many anymore, where it's kind of with there's only so much that you can do basically to keep a living, to earn a living by selling your music and just having your audience be bronies. That's one of the main reasons, and the other reason is maybe you don't have any interest in the show anymore. I know a lot of people, like specifically, what's his name, Glaze. Specifically, he told me that like basically stopped watching after the season 2 finale, and so there's only so much inspiration you can take. I don't know what the story is for like other musicians who just kind of disappeared or graduated, but that's kind of like that's kind of the way it goes when if you don't have if you're not making enough profit basically, and it's your career, then you have nowhere to go with the fandom.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. All right. So, real quick, let's just go down the line here. And what I want to hear is the best and the worst of the fandom's music in your opinions. We'll say early fandom from like 2011 to 2014, mid from 2015 to 2018, and then present, which is everything. So the good and the bad on those three. If you can come up with 6 names, Goonie, what do you think?
Specific songs?
Specific artists.
Artists. Okay. Let's see. So from early to 2014, let's see. I was never a fan. I know so many people liked him, but I was never a fan of Jackalap. I didn't like Jackalap's. I didn't like his style, and I didn't like his mixing either.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he wrote good songs, but I thought that the quality of them was just kind of bad. That's all.
I
And
agree.
when it comes to and then also back, if you're going back like to the beginning of his musical career, I would also say Aviators. I didn't like his writing was okay and his vocals were okay, but like the mixing was just so saturated, and like the vocal, and it was before the time that he had like a pop filter, and so you'd always hear the in everything, and so it was just like it overpowered things. It's really noticeable in like his old song Friendship, and like things like what was it, the Fear of Flight, um and you also said like what was the best of that time too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the most professional songs that I had heard, and that was really catchy. Sure, it was really poppy and sounded mainstream, but there was the old Black Griffin song with his brother Basic. They did a song called Paper Sky, and like I was like blown away I was blown away by the quality that it had, and in comparison to like the old quality of the Proud to Be a Brony, and then later in 2013 they came out with their 2 really popular songs, uh, Faster Than You Know and Crusader, Are We There Yet? And
Mm-hmm.
those in my opinion, they were very well done, very well written, and very well produced. So
All right.
and that's all about all I can think of.
Okay. And you don't have anything for mid fandom or present?
Oh, sure. I forgot about those. Let's see, mid fandom.
It was a loaded
Uh,
question. I apologize.
oh, you're good. You're good. Mid fandom, I was non-existent for 2 years, so I was uninformed. Um, I started to really get into. Oh, and I gotta shout him out anyways because he's my favorite. Replacer was really good. I actually really thought
Yeah.
that his. I thought Replacer's music was some of the best sounding, and well, very not like pop, not in like the terms of pop music, but cleverly written lyrics, and very unique yet enjoyable instrumentation. You can tell he gets his roots from both classic rock and jazz and like psychedelic rock stuff. And his mixing was, although his kind of music was a little softer, he made everything very well balanced. Um, that's my opinion about like sort of mid fandom stuff. I liked his music during that time,
All right.
and
And who do we got?
I don't. And let's see, and then the worst. Oh, I don't know. I can't think of one because I wasn't super informed on that during that
And
year.
you probably repressed the worst. Like you hear a song, go, oh shoot, I really don't like this, and don't even bother learning the name. Is that a fair assumption?
Sure. It's more just like I was gone. I was on my Mormon mission thing.
Yeah.
So I was gone. So I wasn't aware of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I had zero connections. Um let's see. And present day, I think that personally I think that uh in a mixing and a continuous publishing standpoint, I think both Prince Whatever and Violet Pony are like they're both really, really, really good at mixing and writing, and also just instrumentation is also really, really good. And um, cringeworthy though, I would say, oh, I don't want to throw people under the bus. Okay, I don't like Luck Rock's music, and I don't. And I also don't like. I'm not a huge fan of. Oh, what's his name? Dewey. Do the Daring Do. There we go.
Really?
I think that.
Man.
I think that both of. Yeah, I think that both of them need. I think that both of them really need some adjustments in like. Well, Dewey's mixing is not that bad, but his lyric writing, I know it needs work. Just because like I find all the time, everywhere, that thing where where you say a word but it's not emphasized on the correct syllable, like happens like with every other word with Dewey's music.
You know what's funny is
it always irks me.
You know what's funny is there's a chance he's listening to this because he followed me on Twitter shortly after I announced that you guys were coming on tonight.
Not anymore.
Rick, sorry, Dewey.
Unfollow.
Too late, he knows. All right, let's move on here. Prince, best and the worst of the eras of the fandom.
Okay, early era best would be Tombstone, Glaze, Sim, Gratina, Escap. Oh man, Mike, Alex S. I still listen to Alex S. even now, even though I talked a lot of shit about him. I still like his stuff. It was great. God, the worst. Jeez, it's hard for the worst because, like, yeah, like you said, you hear it and then you stop listening to it, so you don't remember it. Man, I don't know. The only one I can really remember was guy called Pencil Eraser. He wasn't bad. It was a case of what we talked about earlier, where his composition, like on every level, like the instrumentation and the lyric writing and how he phrased it all, and the melodies was all phenomenal. But his mix was just was not there, even for my standards back then. It was not great. But yeah, every piece of potential was there for that guy. Geez, who else? I don't know. On the bad side, I really don't know back then. Yeah, I don't know. In the mid section, I've been listening to a lot more Pony music recently, but for a while I didn't really listen to other Pony musicians. I kind of listened to normal stuff because I wanted to compete with like the mainstream stuff really, really hard. So I listened to mainstream stuff a lot to try and like figure out what they were doing. Why do people like them so much? So I didn't listen to too much.
You had a really good cover of you had a really good cover of Absolute Territory a few years ago.
By Ken. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Yeah, I love Ken stuff. I don't think he's a horse anymore, but yeah, he was awesome.
He's got the one song. He's got 20% Cooler. As far as I know, that's the only Brony song he ever made.
Yeah, I don't think he's kept up over all these years. Oh man, who was even around in the mid section? This was 2013. That's early. I was gonna say Bosch Fire. Oh, if anyone even remembers that dude, but he was killer.
Oh, wait, I know a name. I know a name who started out in that era. I know a couple names actually.
Go on.
Woodlore started out in that era, and then also Luna Jax started out there.
Oh, those guys are both freaking amazing.
Yeah, they're good.
I don't know what happened to Woodlore. He made an April Fool's video about leaving the fandom and then deleted his channel.
A year later.
Yeah.
And then left the fandom.
The real joke was it wasn't a joke.
Oh my
god.
The ultimate troll at the time.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
I don't really have anything for the mid era. The later stuff. Um, I've been listening to, yeah, Forever Free. I've been listening to your Who Knows and what's the other one? This Is What It's Like. I love those two. They're both amazing. Um, a lot of I've listened to a few of Violet's things, mostly Antinymph and Little Dreams. Little
course.
Dreams is an older song from Violet, but that song is a fucking banger.
That one is so good. I actually did a
Yeah.
cover of that one.
Antonym slaps. I fucking love that song.
I have a hot
Everyone
take on
loves
that. I have a hot take on that song, but we'll get to that.
Oh no.
Anyone bad recently? I don't really think so. Like, a lot of the people who are still around are people who, you know, they've either been here forever and learned, or they've seen the quality of a lot of the people who are popular right now and been like, well,
or like the bad ones just don't even get noticed at this point, so you don't know about
yeah,
them.
there's no wave. Exactly, there's no wave to ride, so it's hard to point out somebody not cutting it these days. It's mostly the people who've been doing it a while and know what they're doing.
that kind of sucks though, because oh, go on.
I was just gonna say there is this guy who keeps tagging both you and me on Twitter, like about these new like metal songs that this guy makes.
Oh no!
And his vocals are always horrendous. But the guitar, yeah, something like that. It's like Prince Slayer. Yeah, that's
he's
the guy.
He's a nice. He's a nice guy, but yeah,
he's a nice guy. Yeah.
I was gonna say though, yeah, the thing about not having a wave to ride really sucks. It's like it means you don't have to be exposed to all this cringe. But then back in the day, I was god awful. But people were nice to me regardless. And if that wasn't the case, I would not have continued. Because I was young, I was experimenting with something new with this whole music thing, like trying to take it seriously in this weird new fandom that I was part of. And if people had crapped on me back then, I would have probably just ran away because I was a baby. But yeah, like, it sucks because back then our standards were a lot lower and it was a lot easier to get noticed. You had to be like kind of average, even slightly below average, and you were good enough back then. But nowadays all the bars are way higher, and it's so the barrier to entry is infinitely more than it used to be. So it's just impossible, and I feel bad because a lot of people who are trying to start out now were a lot better than I was, and they're just not gonna make it because the conditions just aren't the same, and it sucks.
Yeah,
because it's a lot of potential just going to waste basically. But that's the game, I guess. I don't know. I try to support everyone I can, but like my sphere of influence is pretty small in the grand scheme of things.
If you think you were bad in the beginning, though, I've linked a song in the chat. Just
did you?
That was my first one, and that was so bad.
Oh no! I'll check that
out. I thought it was clever, but the quality was so horrendous. Like did you played all the drums through one mono keyboard, and it was so.
Cordero.
Great. What do you mean?
It's terrible. Everything is like, it almost sounds like it's all mono, except for like a couple little things here, and I think the guitars were stereo, but like everything about that song the quality was so bad. And once the drums come in, once the snare in the drums come in, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's so bad, so bad.
So Cordero, best and worst of the fandom throughout history.
Okay, so let me see if I can hit some stuff that we didn't hit yet. But first, jumping straight to lane, I went to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th Violet Pony. I found her like last week. Found out that she existed. Yeah. Wow. And holy shit, that's my current favorite Brony musician of all time is Violet Pony, because her shit fucking slaps. It's well mixed, it's well sung, it's well composed. It's super artistic, and the artists she gets to help with her stuff are all amazing too. Like, I was blown away, and I'm sad that she's started late fandom as far as I can tell, because if she was around like 2012 through 2014, 6 million views per video easily with what she's put out. We were just talking about that.
She actually started in 2013, and it was even on the top 25. Yeah, on the top 25 of the year.
And he had a
her first big song was the "Back to Love" song or something like that.
He had a feud with Whoopmaster for a little bit back in like 2014, which was kind of funny to watch. And
Oh.
something they were talking about this very topic, like whether or not Brony music is cringe.
I remember this.
Huh,
All the
interesting.
videos are deleted, but yeah, that was a big. I feel like that's one of the reasons that Violet hasn't taken off like she really should have. Is because she not so much nowadays, but she used to involve herself in a lot of drama.
That's
And-
so true.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
gosh.
it just made me sad to see. It's like just no.
Dang.
I got involved in drama once, and I never going back.
Who
I
else?
remember that. I forgot about that. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Who else you got for us, Cordero?
I'm gonna mess up the time. I'm kind of just gonna blur it because I'm gonna mess up the timeline because I don't know when everyone started. D Notive is I think he's pretty old. That's one of my favorite singers and mixers of all time.
Really old, yes.
I like his fantasy album. Replacer covered one of his songs. He's really good. I mean, we all know that the triple S tier greatest Brony song ever made is "Crunkin' by the Book" on Jake Wyman's channel, but no, we can't all be triple S.
Yeah.
I've never even heard that.
Jake Wyman's meme.
That was a huge meme.
Cordero,
General
you
Mumble.
massive troll! How are you gonna sit there and say that's the best song in the fandom and not do the Twiggly Wiggle by DWK? What's the matter with you?
The Twiggly Wiggle.
You caught me. The Twiggle Wiggle by DWK. That's right. That's also triple S tier. So there's two in triple S tier.
I miss him.
What do I
miss him
got?
so much.
I'm glad somebody
Oh,
brought up
yeah.
Basic because I was going to bring up Basic. He's not Basic. He's really good. And Black Griffin. Gosh, I'm like freezing now. There's too many names in my head. Aftermath was really good. Obviously Tombstone. Assertive Fluttershy and the whole Balloon Party album. All of that stuff. Oh, Twitch. Twitch back in the day. I still jam to the Changeling song. That's really awesome. Awkward Marina. I like the stuff she makes. For like the not as good, I agree with the Jackalap stuff. Jackalap was really good at composition. Was a great songwriter. But just the voice. It's one of those people where the voice wasn't quite there. Another one where the voice wasn't quite there, and I wish it was because I really like the cut of his jib. Again, good songs and stuff. Is DB Pony. I wanted DB Pony to be good, but he just needed a little more work on the voice, I think.
His
That's-
vocal is amazing. It's just again, timbre. He's got a certain quality to it. Some people don't like.
Yeah,
He's
DB.
amazing. Yeah,
I was
yeah,
actually
it's an
listening
acquired
to
taste.
DB Pony's new song on the way home from work today, and I was, I felt bad because the instrumentals were really good, but his voice was just grating.
It's
Yeah.
something that you
Find
either
that
don't
one.
enjoy or you do, because like his songs would sound, his voice would sound really good on like honestly, I don't like his voice on Wonderbolt, but I really like his tone on his older song called Miles. It's like much more animated and it's supposed to sound like
Yeah.
somewhat of a show tune,
I have
even though
both
it's
of
like-
those on my playlist.
Yeah, I like Miles, but I don't, and I like okay, I think my favorite one of his was the what was it called? Make This Pony Mine. That one. Anyways, but that was like those are the kinds of tunes that his voice belongs on. And the harder stuff is like it just like it's little too it's not it feels like it's out of place. That's all.
No, I feel
Yeah.
All right.
Christine.
Cordero, did you have any more names for us, or should I move on?
I mean, we could be here all night. Assertive Fluttershy. Still like all that stuff. Silverhound. I met Silverhound at Fiesta Equestria when that was a thing for 2 years.
Yeah, he's good. He's and he continues to get better. And also another thing about Silverhound is he has some of the best stage presence I've ever seen. And I'm talking, I've been to big name heavy metal concerts. I've been to all kinds of concerts. I've been to ZZ Top. I've seen videos. I haven't been to Rammstein, but I've seen videos of Rammstein. With all this in mind, I still say Silverhound's got some of the best stage presence I've ever seen.
He is really good.
At conventions, I saw a couple people's. They're good in. I'll call them studio musicians because live wasn't just great. No, I'm not dropping names. Okay, I got two more. I got two more. Gato Paint. It's probably a mid fandom one.
Oh, I was gonna say Gato
Did a lot
Paint.
of
You
Five Nights
jerk.
at Freddy's
Early
stuff.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Gato Paint was really good. Did the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and I had one more. Oh gosh, I'm gonna be pissed if I forget because I really like this person. Oh, Ponyphonic, another back in the old day, an OG.
Oh.
Yes.
Ponyphonic, Silverhound, Prince Whatever, of course. My playlist is littered with Prince Whatever.
Oh hell yeah.
JB, there it is. JB, that's him and D-Notive are the two best mixers, or the best EDM mixers in my opinion in the fandom. Were JB and D-Notive.
Better than Violet? Really? Damn.
So
All right.
JD
I'll
was really
take
good.
I'm gonna.
I only heard one of JD's tunes, and it was the song "Rain" with Giggly Maria, but it was really good. I'm gonna lie.
I have that. It's really good. Friend for Life, his Equestria Girls mix of Friend for Life. I think that's my favorite JB song.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I'm gonna weigh in real quick here. Let's see here. Early fandom, I'd say the best. And this is gonna be weird for me because I'm gonna say names of people that I like. But if I listen to them objectively in terms of the quality of their mix and sometimes their vocals, they may not be as good. So early fandom, I'm gonna say the best would be, let me see here, Acoustic Brony, I believe, would be among the best of the early fandom, and of the worst, I'd say either I'd probably actually say Jof the Loaf. Yeah, because again, really good music. I felt like the vocals were not as good. There was also a rapper and rocker.
Vocals were great.
Yeah, a rapper and rocker back in the day who was really good at writing and very talented, but not very good at mixing, was Kenneth, or Lock 9, and I use his music in literally all of my videos. Yeah, he's got a couple of songs where you just can't understand the words there. Let me see. Mid fandom, I was gonna say Gato Paint, but that got stolen. Let's
Violet
see.
Pony got stolen from me. I wanted to rave about her.
Mid fandom, I'd say for best, I'd say Reverb Brony, and for worst. For worst,
it sucks, doesn't it? Because you don't wanna.
No, I mean I don't care. I'm probably never gonna meet these people. Oh, you know who's in my folder is Phileo, the guy that made one song.
Oh.
Yeah, I love The Way She Flies, which to this day probably the best Brony song ever. Anyway,
I made a better version of it.
no, you didn't. It was good. It was good. I don't think it was as good. Please forgive me.
It was way better mixed.
You would know that better than I would, so I'll just have to give it to you.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing: is modern day, I'd say our two guests tonight are definitely holding the line, doing the really representing the fandom. Of the worst of the modern day, I would actually, and this is where I get lynched, Kuro. I think
Kuro. Oh.
Yeah. I think now
What for,
listen,
though?
he's and I'll tell
Get
you
the pitchforks.
I'll tell you why. Because he's got a very good style. He's got a really unique style, those bagpipes and all that. The bagpipes and the choruses and the vocalists he has on, very epic. I wish his songs sounded different. They're like, especially as I was binging him, and I would listen to one song after the next, and I literally heard the same what do you call it, like progression. Four songs in a row, and I almost unsubscribe because there's nothing that turns me off a musician more than all their songs sounding the same.
Have you heard?
It was probably more than just the chord progression, because there's only so many chord progressions that most pop and rock music uses anyway, so you're going to get the same chord progression a lot, but you'll hear a lot of variance in the melody. So
And I don't think
Yeah.
and I don't think
it was probably more like the whole backing track was very similar, not just the chord progression.
maybe.
Would be my guess.
I could have
But
sworn
like,
it was
have
a
you
chord
heard?
progression.
Have you heard Together Against the Sisters though?
Yes, and that was good. Like that's the
Okay.
thing yeah, I'm having to take it from a very different perspective here of best and worst, and I would also actually put Violet as one of the worst of the modern. Now, Violet, in my opinion,
She's gay and cusses. Of course you hate her.
What?
No, Violet.
Yeah.
Listen, Violet used to be really good. He had a ton of really good music that and I've got a lot of it on my phone and on my computer. I listen to all the time from like 2014 to 2016, and you know something though, that was the switch. It was like as soon as he came out as trans, his music drastically changed, and I would say went downhill pretty steeply. Now the one that you linked earlier tonight, it came out,
Antonym.
Antonym came out recently. That one was actually halfway decent, if nothing else, just for the litany of memes in there. But that
Antonym, Bonnie is brand new.
I didn't like Bonnie.
Oh my! Then you don't like music. I'm leaving your Patreon. This is disgusting.
Yeah, okay. I'm surprised it took this long.
What is going on?
I
took
hate
an
to
actual
I hate
war.
to I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave.
Yikes.
So, yeah, I have. I think Violet fell off pretty hard.
Oh gosh.
So those are my opinions. Last question of the night here. How far can Brony music go? The ultimate question here. How long until we hear, I should say, Fly Away on the radio? Gentlemen.
Well, yeah.
Well, the radio's dying.
Radio
Yeah,
is
not the
dying,
only
but
one,
like radio is kind of dying, but the thing is that streaming services are not. So there's things like Spotify and like the what do you call it, the new, and it's still hot and new, and you can find it on like the recommended lists, and how do you get your stuff, and record labels and stuff like that. Record labels are still a thing, surprisingly, but the thing is, you have to be able to get a song like played on the radio. It has to come out without being published on like anything else prior. Basically, it has to be basically given to the radio station, or not to the radio station, but given to some sort of record label. And it has to be halfway. The critics have to like it, basically. And I don't know like the entire process of it, but all that I know is that there's like a college radio station in California that like sometimes plays my songs, because I search my real name every now and then, just to see when they, on Twitter, that is, just to see when they play my songs, and I think that's kind of cool. So some of my songs are technically on the radio, but like it has to be, if you want to get pony music on the radio, it has to be indirect, and it has to be like really professional level of mixing, songwriting. Has to be something that they know everybody will love. The only thing that I could ever hear being played on the radio nowadays, I guess depending on the station, would be something from like Black Griffin, because his pretty much ever since he and Basic came out with the Faster Than You Know song, that was they sounded real mainstream. They sounded real like they could be played on the radio.
I'm sure collaborating on a regular basis with the Creepers had nothing to do with it.
Well, the thing is, even still, that their music wasn't really played on the radio. And so I think, if I recall correctly, I think Remake posted one time that they had their new song, The Spiral, played on a radio station. I'm not sure if it was a college radio station or a mainstream radio station, but I remember they posted a video of like a recording that they had that said that they were going to play their song. And I don't know. It wasn't a Brony song, but so far to this day, I don't think I've heard any Brony song be played on a radio station. You'd have to move out from the fandom, or you'd have to at least branch out from the fandom to get your music played on there.
And Prince, what do you think?
Kind of a similar train of thought. I think that I don't think we're ever gonna get Brony music on the radio, like a song like any song that includes like, words like some pony or like names like Fluttershy or stuff like that. I don't think that's gonna get on the radio, but I think a Brony musician could make a mainstream level song. And like honestly, a ton of the current work that's coming out is absolutely mainstream level quality wise. It's just how are you gonna get it up there? There's no way. And yeah, I don't know. Like this the thing that you referred to earlier, Goonie, saying that you try to keep your songs implicit rather than explicit. I kind of bounce back and forth. Like a lot of my songs are completely implicit. They could be anything, but like the artwork gives clues as to what the song's really about, and once you get that, you understand all these meanings in the song. And then there's other ones where I'm like, screw it, I'm just going full pony, like straight in there. And yeah, absolutely, absolutely, my girl. But yeah, like I bounce back and forth depending on how I feel, because yeah, like sometimes it can be a bit like not. Could you call it cringe? Sure, let's call it cringe. It can be a bit cringe to show off a very explicitly horse song in front of like your normie friends, or if you go to a party and someone's like, "Yo, I heard you're a musician. Can you show me some of your stuff?" And you're like, "Crap, yes, but give me a second." So like,
Choose.
I don't know. Yeah, like
feeling.
I don't do it for like I don't make them implicit for those reasons. It's just it works out that way. That yay, I have songs that are like I can listen to around normal people, and that's great. And I think I've forgotten the base question here, and I'm going on a tangent. What was the question again? Oh yeah, Brony music in the mainstream.
How far can Brony
musicians?
music go? Yeah.
I believe a Brony who makes implicitly Brony music could go very far. It's just you need to get picked up by a label, and then you'll have to strip out all the anything explicitly horse from your songs. You have to strip out also from your branding. You have to strip it out. But you could be a horse at heart and make songs about horses. Just make them not obvious. So it could already happen for all we know. We don't know if someone up there is a horse. I know that didn't Deadmau5 have a Fluttershy shirt on that one time? That was a big meme. So it could already have happened. I don't know.
Andrew WK was one of the fandom champions in the mainstream for a little bit there.
Yeah. Was it the pinky shirt? I think I remember.
He did panels.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
Did he?
well,
He was in the Brony documentary for a little as well.
Oh wow, nice. What a guy.
The closest thing I can think of is like Black Griffin doing the song with Tombstone. That is No Mercy, the one where like it got memed, and now basically everybody knows it because of a meme. That's the closest thing I can think of to like Brony fandom Brony musicians going mainstream.
Yeah, but he wasn't a Brony at the time, so I don't know. I'm thinking like my own internalization of this is I'm thinking someone who is actively in the fandom somehow hitting the mainstream.
What you mean? Okay.
Alrighty then, and Cordero, let's hear from you. How far can Brony music go?
Well, mainstream is a whole different animal now than it would have been even a decade ago, and certainly 20 years ago. I would say in the past, it would be basically impossible. It'd still be hard now because if you get big enough with a quote pony song, there's the Hasbro hammer that comes down on anything that gets too big. Look at the Jan animations or any animation that got too big.
Mm.
There's that cap on unlicensed fan stuff that will always exist, at least for now. But then you look at mainstream. You look at, speaking of songs about horses, Lil Nas X made a joke country song about riding a horse and banging women, and became the biggest name in music. Yeah, Lil Nas X by doing that. So like, if you hit the right TikTok vein at the right time, absolutely, it's definitely possible. So I wouldn't make it impossible. It's definitely more possible now than it used to be, but it's still pretty unlikely. Just because of how niche the fandom is now. The spike of My Little Pony is 5-6 years behind us, and it really is kind of it's a niche fandom now. It's another fandom that's out there, and the thing that makes me happy is that it's still going. I don't mind that it's smaller. I'm just happy that it's still going, and I want to keep being a part of it and enjoying stuff that comes out, like stuff by Violet Pony. Screw you, Brony. So like, I'm just glad that it's still going. So as far as being mainstream, very, very unlikely, but not impossible, because mainstream is kind of decentralized right now. So that's all I'll say, is it's definitely possible.
Can I just not like somebody's music on a subjective level without getting accused of homophobia here? That'd be real nice.
No, you can dare you.
That was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm not gonna leave you alone. I'm not leaving you alone on Violet, like almost any other musician, but like Violet hit like every single check mark for me of like artistry, composition, mixing, vocal talent, collaborating. Every single check mark I have, no weaknesses, 10 out of 10. So that's just why it hit a vein with me. So that'll be a funny.
That album he did a few years ago with I can't remember the name of the album. It was based on a fan fiction that was supposed to get released on Film Fiction. I was eager to read it, but it had Inequality. Yes, thank
Starship?
you. Yes, and Inequality is one of my favorite songs in the Brony fandom. That's such a great song. But anyway, if we don't have anything else to add or take away, let's get into the audience participation segment, shall we? All right, so we're a little bit late getting to this, but if this is your first time tuning in, as the chat has been going on, as the stream's been going on, I've been reading the chat and taking down comments and interesting questions that I saw, and we're going to go through them now. I've encouraged these guys to do the same, so let me get through the ones that I bookmarked, and then we'll see if I missed any according to our guests here. So early on, we got Paladin Pony T asking me if I've ever tried to make a fan song. So I've done a couple of musical projects. Only one of them was technically a fan song. It was a parody of D12's Purple Pills, or Purple Hills if you're going with the censored radio-friendly version.
I saw this.
Yeah, Purple. I called it Purple Pones. I did it with DeWilstonator and two people who absolutely cannot rap. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but Looney Turtle and Keyframe, that was a mistake. And that is about how cringy and crazy Brony conventions can get. And recently, when I went to Everfree Northwest, DeWilstonator said, "Hey, do you want to do Purple Pones with me?" Because he was on that song too. So I got up there and he did one of his verses and I did my verse from that. But as I was going up there, I was like, you know something, I could have done better on the lyrics for my verses way back then in 2014, 2015, something like that. So I freaking rewrote it 2 days, rewrote my verse 2 days before I got on stage. And then DeWilstonator tried to harmonize it with me, and he was harmonizing the old version of it. And I'm sure that sounded interesting. But we'll see what happens when his video comes out. I'm probably just going to be cringing at myself. But basically my verse was supposed to be about there's a guy who's going around messing with girls. A little bit on the sexual harassment side, won't stop. Nobody's doing anything about it. So I catch him in the stairwell and I make it look like an accident. And that's how that verse goes, and that's the closest thing to a fan song I've done. The rest of everything else I've done have been covers. And I had this conversation briefly with Goonie last time. I don't know if I am suffering from Dunning-Kruger syndrome, because I feel like I have a good singing voice, but my songs never sound good. I don't know if that's me sucking at singing or me not having good mixing. I'll figure it out eventually. Let's see here. Paladin Pony T also says, what is your favorite villain song? And he's asking this to all of us. So Cordero, favorite villain song?
The Moon Rises. It's a basic bitch to say, but I mean, facts.
All right.
Are we talking about like
anything
songs or canon songs?
He specifically says
could come. Fandom.
He specifically said it could come from anywhere.
I mean, yeah, Fandom makes sense in the context of this show right now.
Yeah, I assumed Fandom, but I'm not changing my answer, even if you spread to everything. It's pretty good. I mean, maybe villain number one from Lazy Town. You're aerobic against everything, yeah.
Which fun? Here's a fun fact for real quick for you, Cordero. We Are Number One is how I found Violet Pony initially, because he did a remix of that song, and it freaking kills.
Violet is trans? I didn't know that. I mean, I just found him last week, so
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
Violet is
gentlemen, favorite villain songs from anywhere.
Oh, jeez. Like I said before, I don't listen to much Fandom music currently, so it'd have to be something canon, and that would be Better Way to Be Bad. I love that song so much.
That is
that
fun.
or Battle of the Bands from Rainbow Rocks. There's one like atonal part in that sounds fucking amazing. But yeah, those are my picks.
And
can you claim a whole soundtrack?
OP.
I'm gonna say, I don't know if it counts, but I don't know. I would say that it kind of counts as a villain song, because she was technically, I don't know, somewhat a villain at the time. But like Prince Whatever's cover of The Countess was like really good. Was extremely good.
Yeah,
I don't know. Does that count as a villain song?
I'd say so, because like the transition from the super auto-tuney electronic stuff into the like piano and single vocal thing is like her transition from being snooty, famous horse to really nice, actual, genuine person, you know?
Yeah. And I got another one. It's also Prince Whatever's cover of the Open Up Your Eyes. That was also really, really good.
That is really good. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Drake Emberheart says, I'd like to add to Garrison has a parody of Staircase to Heaven called Many a Lifetime. I played that for my parents, who are diehard Led Zeppelin fans, and they loved it.
Staircase to
That's
Heaven.
cool. Staircase. Yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Well, I love Aerosmith's Love in a Lift-Evator. That's a great song.
Rusty Helm 93 wants to know, where do I find top 10 Brony music lists?
On the top 10 Brony music channel. That is where you find it. Yes. It's literally just called Top 10 Pony, or Top 10 Pony song. It's run by YTMLP, actually.
Yeah.
And the lists are going literally every month, and Prince just won July.
Nice.
Hooray.
Frozen Night.
With the parody of the Bowling for Soup song.
Frozen Night, and if that's the same Frozen Night that I listen to regularly, great to see you in my comments section there. I love your music. It's a mixed bag when people pursue things outside the fandom. You have some who move on but keep their previous aliases channels intact, and you have others who scorched earth their entire past. So that was when we were talking about musicians who leave the fandom. Ouija Draws says, I'm getting a tattoo in September of Prince's crown logo, and I'm actually nervous about telling the artist where it actually comes from, since the outside audience can be pretty judgmental, which sucks. So, congratulations, Prince. You're going to be permanently emblazoned on somebody's body.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Nice.
That's not something I could ever say. That's not something I could ever say my fans have done yet, to my knowledge.
Yeah, to your knowledge,
That's really cool, though.
It is. That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, it's special. That's something really, really. I don't know. It's an honor, honestly. It's a big decision.
That is something else. I couldn't imagine. Like the closest thing I've got to that is one time after I did a panel at the Grand Brony Gala in Florida, I had a fan come up to me and say and tell me that advice I had given in one of my videos, he took that and used it to help reconnect with his father, which I thought was very touching. And then as a token of his appreciation, he gave me his Applejack dog tag, which I still have. So, but
That's really cool.
if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm getting a tattoo of you on my body," I would probably go, "The heck is wrong with you?"
Scream and run.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not a musician though. Musicians can get away with that. Black and blue.
Do mental scars count as tattoos? You've mentally imprinted on my brain being my personal trainer.
Yeah, I'm sure I've physically imprinted a couple of bruises on there too. Black and blue, love your music, by the way. We all sounded like amateurs recording in greenhouses.
Oh yeah.
Rusty Helm 93, in response to me talking trash on Violet, says he grabs a rope and says, "So you have chosen death."
Yeah, Violet's a fandom darling right now. What are you doing?
Yes.
I don't give a frick. Come for me. There's nothing you can do to me that won't make me stronger. My name is Brawny Buck, in case you didn't notice. Drake Emberheart says, it makes me feel really bad, though, because he says L Train and Osoch, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, are guitar gods. Osok, yes, guitar gods in this fandom, and I cannot believe that I forgot to name them earlier.
They are great. Yeah.
Yes, they are really
Oh
good.
my God, Paint the Moon Red just is inspiring.
It is really good.
There's
a question that was like that's for whatever night says, would you like to have a music battle with someone? If so, who would it be?
Oh my, that was a thing back in the day. I forget who it was, but wait.
It was Mando and Acoustic. They did a rap battle.
There were rap battles, but someone was doing one like for specifically the rock musicians. They were gonna do like shred battles and stuff.
Yeah, it was Stallion Slaughter and Quicksilver. They did a guitar battle. Like, they chose like different speeds, and then it was kind of different tempos for like each section, and then L Train jumped in at the end. It was kind of cool.
I would pay real money to see that, to see shred battles between some of you guys at conventions. Oh, Rusty Helm clarifies and said, "I think the threat was towards your dislike for Jake Rowe." Well, that, if anything, that makes more sense. Yeah, I mean, Jake Rowe is good. Jake Rowe is good. I just feel like I binged his music and all of it sounded the same. Yeah, and so it's and that was the thing, is like literally everybody I named, I listen to on a regular basis as well. So I'm kind of a hypocrite. Don't take me too seriously. Mega Buster Shepherd says, "You became the cringe. I was born in the cringe, molded by it. I am the master of cringe. I didn't meet a normie until I was already a man."
Jeez, I like that.
And Zodia195, also known as our friend Pristine, says, "Is Prince a Twilight fan?"
Absolutely. She was my favorite. My favorites have changed a lot over the years, but she's been top 3 at least the whole time.
And the last question I have here is fairly recent in the chat. Evershade says, "You get to collab with anyone in the fandom's history, old or new, for one song. Who do you choose?" Prince.
Alex S., even though he's an idiot.
All right. And Goonie.
Woodlore.
I would love
Hands
to see
down.
that.
Woodlore.
Woodlore.
I was, fun fact, I was actually going to do a collaboration with him, but he disappeared. And, for anybody who doesn't know this song, Warmth, because nobody knows my song called Warmth, I was going to have him sing on it. And it has me doing a terrible Southern style accent, and I really, really wanted his voice on that. He has probably one of the best voices you'll ever hear in your life. Uh, it wasn't silky smooth, but it was real. It was rough and gruff, and sounded like he smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. But he had such amazing control and really good guitar work. Mixing was okayish, but his songs and songwriting and just everything about his artistry in his talent of music was incredible. And my wife really likes him. So
Well, today's your lucky day, Goonie. Cordero was born and raised in the South and has been a Southerner his whole life. There you go. You got your new vocalist for this project.
Woodlord
oh, it's already recorded. It's already gone.
All right. So that's all I saw in the chat. Did any of you gentlemen see anything that you'd like to address from the chat?
There's a bunch of new ones. Ouija asks, for anyone, do you guys have any mainstream inspirations?
Oh.
Like inspirational
Boston.
music outside of the fandom? Yeah, Boston, yeah. Good call.
Boston. I like Boston. Boston is my favorite band, and I also I grew up on stuff like Five for Fighting and Pink Floyd. I have a lot of classic rock inspirations. So.
Nice. Oh man,
Yep.
God, what would my inspirations be now? I grew up listening to a lot of like Green Day and Metallica and stuff. And it went to Bullet for My Valentine for those like cool metalcore pedal riffs. Modern stuff I listen to now is mostly it's regressed. I went like as I got older through high school into college, it just got heavier and heavier, and then it completely regressed back. Now it's just Green Day and Fall Out Boy. Now I love them so much, and some like heavy stuff sprinkled in, but it's not as hardcore. Like it has to be super brutal metals, man. It's not like that
Right.
anymore. It's
So-
like there's only so much chug as you can hear before it all just sounds the same. It's like just double kick patterns, cool. I've never heard those before.
Sounds like you need to take a holiday, you American idiot.
Oh.
2 references. I like that.
Yeah.
What else we got? There's a bunch here. Paladin asks me and Everfree, how many of the other MLP bards do you guys know?
What does he mean by bards?
I assume other musicians.
Singers, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bard class.
There's Modern Bard. I knew Modern Bard. Well, I know a lot. There's actually too many. No, I was just trying to name off the ones that had the name Bard in them. But like, but no, I know a lot. I know way too many. I can't list them. Hold up. Wait, no, hold up. Actually, I do have a list that is worth.
No, there's
noting.
too many. The room is full. You've been barred from entry.
Okay, hold up. Wait a minute. I get what you did there. Anyways, I have my list of collaborations. Here we go. My list of collaborations. I have collaborated with, well, so far, I haven't counted the new one. Hold up, crap, I gotta update it. Let's see. I have collaborated with 70 unique artists and made 94 unique songs with those artists, and in total, it counted as 161 total collaborations. And that's like without updating it like for like almost the whole year, because I totally forgot about it this year. I have
like a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah, I literally have a little note just keeping track of all of them. I take pride in being the most collaborated Brony musician in history.
Yeah.
Brony
Nice.
musician. Yes. Where's that one? I need to find Prince whatever his name, because I know I had like a couple. I had like one with you earlier, and I can't. Oh, there it is. No, I had a few with you. You're at 4 so far, and now you're at 5. There we go.
4. I remember. Okay, I remember.
So
Fly
there's
Away,
a couple
Second
parts-
Chances, and
Yeah.
Dreamer's Door.
And- Yeah, the Dreamer's Door, and then you also asked me to participate in just a tiny little, like vocal parts for 2 of your songs, like the little, "Hey" in and we're in this together for the solidarity, and also for the Candles in the Rain. No,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
it called? Yeah, but candles. Yeah,
Better Tomorrow, that one, yeah.
Better Tomorrow. There we go. That was it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, and how about you, Cordero? If you were to collaborate musically with one person,
Oh gosh, well, I mean, like I don't have a library or anything, but I guess almost anyone. I wouldn't mind singing on
Actually,
someone's track or something.
almost
Like, that would
anyone
be fun
doesn't
to
do fandom music. Almost anyone doesn't do fandom music
Dang it.
anymore. Sorry.
Oh, that's my favorite one. It's the only person better than Violet.
Literally, almost anyone was a real fandom musician. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, no, there was it was Fritzy Beats. If you look up Fritzy Beats' first fandom song, it was with a guy named Almost Anyone.
Dang.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
This is gonna sound like cringy and fanboyish, but it would actually be really cool to be on a Prince Whatever song. But I think my voice is it's way too choir boy.
I could find a
Prince's
place
style.
for that. I could find a place for that.
Yeah, just literally put you in a choir. It's done that with several people.
There you go.
Yeah, it's happened.
for the
I
second
actually
time tonight, what a coincidence, Goonie.
Huh?
Well, you've done a lot of choir work on stage and
yeah.
in your thing. So, yeah,
True. Yeah.
I'm just being a jerk and
on stage.
I'm just being a jerk and just shoving Cordero on you as much as possible. You know something though, I would have loved, and I think it almost happened at one point, and then something came up. I would have loved to provide vocals for a Reverb Brony song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Reverb? Because I talked to him and then he just vanished.
He's I mean, if I message him, he'll probably, he usually takes a day or two to get back to me because he's working a couple of jobs out in Australia, and Australia's in a bit of a state right now, so yeah, so we'll find that. All right, so I think we've
done one with him.
I think we've got time for one more question. If anybody sees anything in the chat they want to tackle.
I'll look for something.
Paladin Pony asks, "Do we need to protect Brony?" Don't worry, he can protect himself.
Yeah.
Brony does not.
I'm not going to hurt him.
Brony does not deserve any kind of
his
protection.
bandana off his head.
You do that all the time. Stop doing that.
One more time.
Okay, so here's a fun little story for the audience there. I teach an exercise group in real life. Cordero is part of it. Sometimes we do kickboxing because kickboxing is really good cardio. And
It's super fun.
yeah, it is a lot of fun. I've always been, one for the combat sports, but a tradition I took from where I used to practice was something called a Lion's Den. And on New Year's and on your birthday, you line up and you box with it. You spar with everybody in a line, you versus the whole class for 2 minutes each, usually for 1 or 2 rounds, depending on how many people are in the class. So I had mine recently. And in the last 2 years, when Cordero had his, he always managed to kick the bandana that I wear off of my head. And then on, what was it, Monday that we did mine? Cordero did not kick the bandana off of my head. Heather Blossom knocked the bandana off of my head. and then she ripped one of my shirts off for some reason. Just in the middle of the first round, just ripped one of my shirts. Okay.
Power move.
Yeah.
It's a very misleading name.
Yeah.
The rest of the dojo, we were like, "Do we need to leave?" Is this gonna...
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Got it.
But yeah, she tried to clinch me, so I kind of just placed her on the ground, and when she went down, she tried to drag me with her, but all she got was my shirt. So
Good old-fashioned domestic violence.
We have fun. All right, so I think
there's one question that I see in the chat that I think is worth asking.
All right, go for it.
It depends on how you determine it, but it says how hard is it to make a story out of a song? And then it says then another, but like I don't know the context. But like I think that's an interesting question. Like how difficult is it to write a story into your song, or perhaps to write a story based on a song? I don't know. It might be either of those.
How hard is it to make a story out of a song? Yeah, like if I take that question literally, I imagine like you have a song pre-made and you turn into a fanfic or something, but I assume that's not what they're asking.
Probably.
I assume that means like, yeah, how do you write a song with a story that has a story to it?
Right, like a story driven song. Sure.
All that comes from the lyrics. Like I have this methodology that I subscribe to when I with songwriting, which is I always write an instrumental first. There's no, well, most of the time there's no real theme in mind. I just kind of noodle around until I find a bunch of chords I like and a progression I like it. And as you write the whole thing out and you get your melodies in, it elicits a certain emotional response, and there's like no reason for it. It's just instruments. So I always believe the instrumental provides the emotion, and then the lyrics provide the meaning, like why you feel this way. Like, and if you can marry those two things together at once, you make a really damn good song. Because people are like, wow, this sounds really sad, and like the lyrics are sad as well. So hooray, you did it. But yeah, it's a bit more complicated than that. But yeah, like the story part is all about the lyrics. You're right, and you've got to basically think of a story in the first place. I've got a song I've been writing that's, I think, it's a 2-verse song with 3 choruses. And typically your chorus will repeat, but this one, like I've scrapped the lyrics for each part over and over, and I've got the 3 choruses, and now each chorus is completely different, and the 2 verses, I went through like 4 or 5 different verses for each one, trying to get this story to work. Because at first I was like, it'll just be another whatever edgy song, who care? But as I got more, as I got more into it, I was like, no, there's actually a pretty good story to tell here. I'm gonna try and not make a generic whatever song. I want to make this a bit more special than that. But yeah, it's difficult. You've got to be willing to scrap a lot of work and be willing to start over again if you really want to make something special. And it sucks, but that's how it be.
Wow, we have completely different methods. Like,
oh yeah,
I actually do the concept, like the theme in mind first, and then I write the lyrics instead of like the other way around. I mean, and then I write and record the instrumental is what I mean. After I come up with like the concept or a message or a moral of some sort. Wow, I had no idea. My method is usually a concept or a theme, some sort of message or a hook, an idea that I have in mind, and then I do the instrumental, and then I write the lyrics and the melody at the same time.
And the only way to determine which method is better is if you two have a rap battle over it.
A rap
I don't
battle?
think either of us having a rap battle would resolve anything.
I'm gonna pick here to wrap it up, if that's okay, gentlemen. Yep. So real quick, we do this for Prince. This is your first time on the show, so this is what we do now when we wrap things up. One thing you learned tonight.
What have I learned tonight?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. I was not prepared for this. Oh man, I don't know. I learned that I'm sad because you guys got to go to Everfree and I didn't.
We'll smuggle you out. We'll figure it out next year. Oh, real quick. Apparently, Drake Emberheart wants you two to collaborate with somebody by the name of Toby Macaroni. So that's
I love Toby Macaroni.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
So I gotta go check this guy out. Anyway, Goonie, one thing you learned tonight.
I learned what?
It's hard. I don't know. I didn't learn anything. I was right all along.
Right. Yes.
There's always one.
I learned a bit that cringeworthy music it can really be subjective. Like I learned that you mostly see cringeworthy music, for example, as like something that's like that doesn't sound good, whereas I see cringe-worthy music as something that I would be ashamed to show people, you know. And so cringe is, it can be subjective or perspective thing, you know, and also just I also learned that that maybe you know that Brony music is probably not like the best source of income, but it helps you get started.
All right,
Yeah.
and Cordero, one thing you learned.
Sorry, got held up for a moment. I think I'm at work. My bad. I learned that I think I know more Tony musicians than I do modern artists, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I guess I'll close on a quote from Violet Pony. I don't care if you think it's cringe. It's not your life.
Yes.
All right. And I learned that Brony music, it looks like, can only take you so far, and for the most part, outside of the fandom, still sees Brony as cringe, regardless of anything else, which is unfortunate, and hopefully someday the fandom will itself will evolve beyond that. But that's what I have observed through tonight's conversations. With that, I'm gonna wrap it up. It was very interesting, very long conversation, but thank you, Goonie, thank you, Prince, for coming on tonight and giving us this good conversation. Great chat. So yeah, if you would like to get on this show, guys, out in the chat, hope you enjoyed listening. And if you'd like to get on the show, I'd love to have you. Let's just get you on my Patreon for $1 a month, and from there, you're in the Discord server where you can get on the show, where you can make topic suggestions. They become priority, and where you can suggest the games that we play on Friday Night Fights. Very grateful to all of my generous supporters on Patreon, especially the $10 and up tier, including Pony Cordero, but also Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministry, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Sodden, Girder, Senko, Kyle Christensen, DJ Skywalker, Stephen A. Wilson, Rein-Kun, Princess Sunshine Sparkle, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden, Mac Manx, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. Please check out all their links in the description. And that's about it. God bless, have a wonderful weekend, and say goodnight, everybody.